very conservative communities. They got more votes than President Obama in their district. So it's not about the top of the ticket. It is about the direct voter contact, and that's why mobilization and getting active is so extremely important. Because I can tell you, I mean, I have a representative, she gets so upset when people say, oh, you're really going to have a hard time because President Obama's not on top of the ticket. That's going to be true for some. I'm not saying it isn't for the ones that were very, very close. But for some, they say, well, no, I actually got more votes than President Obama in my district. And let me tell you, dealing with a lot of the conservative issues, and I am talking with my Democratic hat on, but dealing with a lot of the issues that come before the legislature, there are some issues, because it's a full-time legislature, that has no business, doesn't belong in the legislature. It's promoting segregation, profiling, discrimination from the Arizona Like bill. I don't mention her name that introduced it to people talking about having children going through e-verifying before they can actually be foster care kids. You know, all these kinds of things that in many ways make our state so more unwelcoming to foreign nationals, to people that might be different. All these come from the local level of folks coming up with these just ideas as a full, in the full-time legislature. So please be cautious about trying to just focus on top of the ticket and really try to get to know the other local candidates. And they're the ones most accessible to you. And know that 80% of the people that serve in the Michigan legislature, 80% of them somehow end up on the federal level. 80%. And that's more so now because of term limits than before. And many of them are former county commissioners that serve now, city council members. They've been around judges, and they, apply to, they run for a state legislature, and then they move on up. Many of them are very, very ambitious. So it's extremely important that you got to make sure that we're also putting people on the local level in the right places, because, God forgive us if we do end up taking someone just because it's like, okay, well, they're nice. I've heard that so many times, and I was like, but did you ever see her voting record? Did you ever see what she ever introduced? Because I don't care how nice she is. She's introducing really ugly legislation that doesn't help you or your family at all. And so, and that person is running for Congress. I mean, so you need to be very, very cautious about that. So I'm going to leave it there and have people ask some questions. You know that I serve on the appropriations, and every year the deficit gets larger and larger. I am a person that worked at nonprofit human service agencies. I truly believe the services that we offer people in need, and these are real people in need. I don't like the stereotype out there of the small group of folks that may, the stereotypes that they make out to people that are really getting services from our state. But there are real people. 1 of 5 children in Michigan live in poverty, and I've seen it personally, and it just drops me to think that I'm going to have a new legislature with people that don't understand that, or a governor that will, either run it like a business, or somebody that will not completely be in tune with the people on the ground. So, I'm nervous, I think, a little bit, but I do really, really want to come out of this very, very proud of our community and showing that we actually come out and vote and we care. It is so, so powerful. So with that, I'll have Harris monitor if you take any calls.
Yeah. So we're going to take questions, of course, and we'll be open. And then I'm going to ask Rashida, make sure you explain the terminology and stuff like that. No, just because I think we have varying levels of experience over here in Sheldon. So any questions? And again, Rashida, it was great to change the subject. It was changed to grassroots mobilization. It was supposed to be on legislation and the process of that. She has given that talk before. So you can ask questions regarding that too if you want. But any questions? Go ahead.
Do we have a list of suggested or recommended persons for different positions for maybe state senate, state legislature, or judges for that matter? Are we compiling a list so that we can give it to people? Somebody is coming to this center here saying that, who do I vote for? Is there something we can say, okay, this is it, take it here?
So this sounds like a recommendation for the group here, or your so-called voting block, to come up with a slate. What I do for my family is I take a sample ballot and I fill it up. I fill it. And they just take the sample ballot. So it's a ballot, it's actual real ballot, but copied. And I fill the little holes and tell them who to vote for, and they just take that. They just trust me. I mean, but this is a larger group and different views. So this is something, a recommendation for, I believe in that process. I think that's extremely important because there's some people here that might know more about the Secretary of State position, where some other person might know more about judges and interactions with judges. So trying to fit together to figure out who would best represent our community is I think, a good process to go through. But I don't know if this is a 501c3 or how this
I'm not this group, but and I even see the brother there with the MPAC pamphlet, if you want to hold that up. There are, and I know, these organizations, there's different organizations. This is just one organization that has put out something. It's the Muslim Political Action Committee, based out of Detroit. So keep that in mind as well, because obviously many of the candidates are going to be Detroit-centric, so many times what they've done is they've interviewed these candidates, and they have actually made a recommendation based off that. We've done a candidates night here before, where we brought all the candidates. I mean, I don't know, we had probably 40, 50, I think, show up at that time. Inshallah, we need to get on that too. I think we're going to do something like that again over here, where we ask them the similar questions and they get to answer, and you can make a decision, inshallah, based off that. So hopefully something's coming. But I mean, we can't, as MCWS, there's two different things. CAIR cannot, endorse candidates. We can just inform you about, what their positions are. And MCWS and Crescent Academy, same thing. They can just inform you as to what their positions are, and then you make that decision. I think it's fairly obvious in most cases, but that's what it is.
On behalf of AMPAC, for example, but most of the people who come here say they don't want to do all that reading, these things. Tell me, who do I vote?
Yeah, and that's okay. The important thing is you vote. Some people are just completely become disabled because they're not sure. I have residents that call me and they say, okay, I voted for you, but who else am I supposed to vote for? And I said, I'm just glad you're voting, and I'll recommend certain people to them. But you're absolutely right. I think there's this misperception too of of course it's important to fill out every single section. The important though is that you have voted. So if you don't even feel comfortable with certain other don't feel like, oh my God, I'm not a good person because I didn't finish voting the whole thing, and find that you just don't want to do it anymore because you just know you want to go in and vote for Jocelyn and then walk out. Of course, try not to do that and talk to other people, but I wouldn't let that prevent you from actually exercising the right to vote. I also, recommend, and I've done it for especially my elderly, like my Sinto and some of my grandparents, my elder uncles. I will get them an absentee ballot, okay, and I will walk them through it and help them with it. And so if there's anybody in your voting block that just doesn't have time to go to the polls, a lot of our folks own businesses or workaholics, let's be honest. So, they might not go, this is the time to apply for an actual ballot. There's also a process where you can all go and vote early. You can call your clerk, you can actually go in and vote early. So you right now can get a bus, and I'll go in right now and vote. You just find out the details, but you can all literally do that. It's very powerful because that whole office will talk about it for days. Actually, Mayor Kilpatrick did that. He would just go in a van and pick up anybody, go to basketball court, pick up some folks. Somebody's at a park, pick up some folks, and fill up the car, and literally take them to the early voting time. And some of them were not registered, some weren't. But honestly, he did do that. He did that in my district. So I mean, you can do that. I did that, and the 2% Arab community I had was predominantly Muslim. It's Yemeni Americans.